Do I need to run a protein skimmer all the time? The majority of us that have saltwater aquariums will also have a protein skimmer, and the majority of us that have a protein skimmer will be running them all of the time. But that isn't necessarily always the case, so let's look at some situations or instances where you won't want to run your skimmer all of the time. The simple truth is you don't necessarily need to run a protein skimmer at all. Heck, I've had a successful 20-gallon SPS-dominated mixed reef without a protein skimmer. There was a catch though. In order to keep nutrients within an acceptable range, I had to perform weekly 25% water changes. The day I decided to put a protein skimmer on the tank, that water change schedule was basically cut in half. Now, on that note, I did and I continue to run a protein skimmer almost 24/7 so that my tank can consistently receive the benefits that protein skimmers provide, like the removal of organics and waste before they break down in the water, along with added gas exchange and oxygenation, just to name a couple. And those are both very important roles, especially for a reef aquarium. So when would you want a protein skimmer to only be running part-time? Because a protein skimmer can't tell the difference between waste and beneficial substances like liquid coral foods and amino acids, it can be helpful to turn off the skimmer temporarily when you're adding them to your tank. This way, your protein skimmer doesn't try to rapidly pull them out of the water, and the inhabitants of the tank get a chance to consume them first. Most skimmer feed timers will last anywhere from 5 to 15 minutes, but if you're using an aquarium controller or even just a simple digital timer, a feed timer for a protein skimmer can be set for as long as an hour without any substantial loss of performance for the tank. Another time you may not want to run your protein skimmer is when you're dosing specific types of additives or using certain types of epoxies that can cause a skimmer to overskim, oftentimes pulling out tons of unproductive bubbles and clear liquid and not really doing anything useful and just overflowing everywhere. This happens most commonly with some types of two-part epoxy when used in large quantities, like when you're putting together a new aquascape. Instead of running the skimmer right away, leave it off, run some carbon instead to remove those chemicals from the water that make the skimmer overskim, and then you can turn the skimmer back on. Now, although it's less common, some reefers out there who are struggling with ultra-low nutrients in their tank will go ahead and put their skimmer on a timer so that they're only on periodically. But I generally advise against this since it's also going to affect gas exchange, oxygenation, and that can also affect pH as well. Instead, you can increase your feedings of both your fish and your corals, as well as dose nitrate and phosphate as needed with products like Brightwell NeoPhos and NeoNitro to get those levels up. And that way you're not losing out on the gas exchange as well as that pH bump. I think it's just easier to feed more and dose than it is to stop and start this beautiful machine over and over. Now, if you do find yourself looking to automate your protein skimmer so that it automatically shuts down whenever it would be optimal to stop skimming, you have a few different options. The first is to use a simple digital timer like this one. You can program it to shut off for as little or as long as you need and match up the timing to your dosing pump schedule. If you have an aquarium controller like an Apex, you can check out this video right here where Randy goes over all the awesome ways that you can get the most out of your protein skimmer using your Apex, including tying it into your feeding schedules, but there's so much more in there too. All kinds of stuff that you probably haven't even thought of. It's awesome. This thing can become a seamless part of your entire system and work with all your other gear. It's not even that hard to do, so have a watch.